Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Luke Adams. In the headlines tonight, anger in Hull after funding bids rejected by Hull 2017, police bail for 5 suspects involved in a disturbance and helping the elderly. And racing in to join me on the sofa tonight, Councillor Jane Hilden King telling me about the Grimsby 10K, and a little later, Karen Lockin, who'll be talking about her volunteering pledge. Hello, good evening, welcome to Monday's programme. There's anger tonight from leading lights in Hull's art community after several funding bids have been rejected by the Hull 2017 team. Applications for grants of up to £10,000, which were made in order to produce new work and stage events next year, will now not be awarded to applicants, which included playwrights, musicians and photographers. Only 60 bids out of the 650 that were made have been successful in landing grants amounting to £500,000. Bids were made through the Hull 2017's Creative Communities programme for creative projects, which would transform communities and celebrate arts and culture. Many of the city's cultural leaders are now considering organising Hull Fringe to rival Hull 2017. Hull City of Culture Director of Communications, Ben McKnight, said more than 90% of the funded projects were from organisations based in Hull. The successful bids will be announced when the official programme is unveiled in September. 5 people who were arrested over the weekend in connection with a disturbance in Harley Street in Hull have been released on police bail. 2 of the 5 are women aged 18 and 19, with the remainder being 1 woman and 2 men in their 20s. They were all arrested on suspicion of assault and inquiries are ongoing. An 18-year-old man arrested has also been charged in connection with the incident. Police were called to the area at 7:47 a.m. yesterday morning after a call was received reporting a disturbance in the street. An area was cordoned off to enable a thorough investigation into the reports, which included local house-to-house and forensic inquiries. The Cleethorpes-born actress Vivian Gray has died at the age of 92 over the weekend. She played one of soap's most iconic characters, Mrs. Mangle, in the Australian soap opera Neighbours from 1986 until 1988. She also had notable roles in The Sullivans and Prisoner. Gray was one of 4 siblings and her father ran a fish and chip shop in Cleethorpes. She moved to Australia in 1952 after having trouble finding acting opportunities in the UK. She retired from acting after leaving Neighbours and led a very private life ever since. Here's a classic clip of Mrs. Mangle when she moved into Ramsay Street and made it very clear to residents that she was a lady not to cross with.
What is this? A riot on my own doorstep? Break it up immediately or I'll call the police.
Mrs. Mangle.
Well, and what have we got here? No wonder they had such difficulty in selling this house. This street leaves a lot to be desired.
All right till this morning.
What was that, Mr. Ramsay?
I said it was all right till this morning. Let's get out of here. I need some breakfast.
I'll be keeping an eye on you, Tom Ramsay.
There she goes again, old motor mouth.
And what are you two whispering about? Hasn't anybody taught you any manners? There's a trouble with young people these days. Rude, scruffy, ignorant, moral, straight out of the gutter.
Some great memories there. After years of uncertainty, demolition work is finally beginning on Cromer Flats. Preparations for the area's demolition commenced today and will eventually lead to the actual demolition of the area. The first phase of this operation will consist of the 2 accommodation blocks adjacent to the 6 high-rise tower blocks being brought down, with further demolition work following on afterwards. Fred McNamara has more.
Preparation for the demolition of Grimsby's Comber Flats will begin today, on Monday the 1st of August. The demolition of these flats is set to begin a new era for the East Marsh neighbourhood. The works are being carried out by Shoreline Housing, who announced the plan for demolition back in September of 2014. The declining demand for this type of accommodation and its high running costs are major factors in Shoreline's decision to completely demolish this area of Grimsby. Shoreline's Chief Executive Tony Bramley said it will be an emotional time for residents who grew up here, living in these blocks during the 1960s. Shoreline has asked residents to keep away from this area during demolition, which will begin on the 1st of August and will continue throughout the month.
Volunteers are needed to support elderly people in the Bransham area of Hull. They've received £9,000 worth of funding to get a new initiative underway thanks to Bransham East Ward Councillor and former Lord Mayor of Kingston upon Hull, Anita Harrison. Training and expenses can be provided to ensure volunteers can come forward to help the increasing elderly population, as Councillor Harrison and Ray Drayton, who'll run the service, explain.
Well, it first started when I visited an elderly lady, and she was bedbound, so she had a TV in her living room, but she couldn't watch the TV during the day because the sun was shining on it. And it was just a matter of moving around the furniture, and her quality of life shot up because she was in bed all day, she could watch the TV. It's just simple things like that. And this money that we received will help, we can get safety equipment, we can get equipment to do the gardens, and we can pay for travel expenses, which is really good. And what we want the volunteers to do is, it's not a lot of hard work, it's just something that they can come in, couple of hours, wash a few pots, might make a sandwich, make the bed and say, right, I'll see you next week or I'll see you tomorrow.
I think a lot of volunteers that we want to do, they can see there's a need, and I think the satisfaction is when they leave the person's home and she's happy or he's happy. It's like a lot of people, they like the gardens but they can't maintain them. So a couple of hours working in the garden will make that person happy for the rest of the week or fortnight, And if we can keep on top, then we can keep them happy, and hopefully down the line we might get more funding so we can expand the project.
We need about 20 volunteers really, and they can get in touch by ringing me. My phone number is 07766 468 016. If they give me a ring, I can put the name down, get their address and phone numbers, and I'll be in touch with them.
Okay, and you've had a couple of people coming forward?
Yes, we have. We've had a few people coming forward. We haven't received the money yet. We've signed the papers and there's some things we've got to do. And then I think it was 35 days we'll get the money. It's coming at a good time because by the time we get set up and that, it'd be winter, autumn and winter coming in, and that's when the elderly do really need you. At the moment when it's winter and we've got a lot of bad snow, we went out with soup and a roll, making sure that at least they've had something hot for the day. So it'd be things like that in the winter that we can do.
Organisers of this year's Grimsby 10K have said the inaugural event has put the great back into Grimsby. Around 1,500 eager runners raced through the streets and pavements of the town in the event, which took place yesterday morning. Now organisers are aiming to build on the success of the race for next year. I'm delighted to welcome my guest today, Councillor Jane Hilden-King, to tell me how it all went. Jane, thank you very much for coming back. Deja vu.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me back. All I can say, a marvellous achievement. I mean, it really was the great put back in Grimsby yesterday.
Fantastic.
And the people who came, the air was electric. That many people attended. I've never seen so many people having fun, families, children. It was a wonderful event. And as I say, everything went brilliant.
Because testament to the organisers like yourself, Jen, who put on this spectacular event.
Oh, it was done by a group of people, Neil and Nicola, they were the two organisers, along with all the industries who supported it. And I've never seen so many people, and on entering the park after the race,
sure, yeah.
Again, the number of people in the park, they cheered the athletes as they came in. I say it was just a big, big family event. I've never seen so many people.
A great atmosphere.
Superb atmosphere.
Now, we said there was around 1,500 runners who took part in the event yesterday.
Yes, yeah.
What did the run actually consist of? Where did the runners go?
Well, it was, as I say, it was the 10K mile, and I think some of the runners I chatted to afterwards, and they were saying they were amazed that they went down a parkway, Peaks Parkway, and they'd never they'd done 10Ks before, and they thought it was fantastic. They said it was one of the best races they'd entered.
Was it people just from our area who took part in this?
Oh no, goodness, they came from all over, from Sheffield, Manchester, from all over the country, yes,
dedication.
To take part. Yes, Scunthorpe, local, all the villages.
Now, did you find yesterday that you had to be fairly athletic and robust?
I suppose.
Could novices like me take part?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I'm expecting you to take part next year, Luke. I've got you down already.
I will start training.
Yes,
I don't think the blue suede shoes would qualify. I'll have to get some suitable attire.
I think what it is for, there was a 2K run to start off with.
Okay.
And there was over 200 that participated in that, and that was children, mums and families, and quite a lot of senior people.
Fantastic.
And of course I did the race.
Well, you're sporting a medal.
Oh, I'm absolutely
You're
proud
sporting a medal.
of my 10K, and it's the fun run. Okay, I didn't run it, but what I did, I spent the first half of the race in a scooter, motorised scooter, because of my disability. But then I did the final 500 metres walking with walking sticks. So
well done.
I used crutches and I went round, and it was amazing, even going down the finishing line and people just cheering. It was, the atmosphere was superb. It was unbelievable.
As I said earlier, inaugural.
Yes.
So we hope to build on the success for next year.
Yes.
How can that actually be achieved?
I think it can be achieved. I mean, it proved it. We got 1,500 for the main run, 200, over 200 for the 2K, and we want to take it further. I know the committee meeting up again, and I'll say today the Chief Exec has been very busy talking to the sponsors, looking for a 3 to 5 year deal.
Fantastic.
And already getting people signing up.
Fantastic. So plans are already
this is going to be bigger than this year. We are looking obviously to start possibly somewhere different, but to finish off in the park.
And if we hope, Jen, that it's bigger next year, will more than 1,500 people be able to take part in the race?
Yes, because we had to close the list off at 1,500, and we were just inundated with people wanting to do the 10K. And we're looking at the figures sort of 3,000, 4,000. We want to make it a really big event, and I know Neil and Nicholas said it can be done.
Well, let's hope it is a great success next year, Jane.
Yes.
I may see you on the...
Oh, I'll be doing it again next year. The only thing is I was disappointed is I ran out of time and I'm not going to go to Rio.
But
so
thank you very much, Jude, for coming in,
Thank you,
Jane.
thoroughly enjoyed it.
Join me after the break when we'll have more of the day's headlines, and Karen Locking joins me on the sofa to tell me about volunteering with the Samaritans. Welcome back. You're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, more of the day's news headlines. Fred will bring us a roundup of all the latest sporting action, and I'll be talking to Karen Locking about volunteering with the Samaritans. More of the day's news headlines first, and Hull City Council will start work to widen the carriageway on Andleby Road tomorrow following the completion of utility diversion works. Three-way temporary traffic signals will be installed and will be controlled manually during morning and evening peak periods as work to improve traffic flow gets underway. The work is expected to be completed by December, with a temporary break during Hull Fair to allow traffic to flow freely. Signs will be in place to guide pedestrians and motorists, and digital signs will display up-to-date information about the works. Graham Hall, Assistant City Manager for Street Scene, said that once the works have been completed, the project will relieve congestion, but there will inevitably be some disruption to traffic whilst the works are in progress. If you want a cab in Grimsby, you'll have to look elsewhere, as from today the taxi rank in the town centre will be closed. It's part of the ongoing town centre improvement works, as Fred explains.
One of Grimsby's most regularly used taxi rank is being closed on the 1st of August. South St Mary's gates will temporarily be closed owing to the town's continued improvement works. North East Lincolnshire Council would like to apologise for any disruption caused by these works over the next few weeks. The taxi rank will reopen with a slightly revised layout once the works are fully completed.
North Lincolnshire Council has drawn up plans for the design and construction of the new railway bridge on the A18 Melton Ross, which is expected to be installed as early as 2018 at a cost of £7.6 million. Various design options have been considered for the replacement of the existing Melton Ross Railway Bridge and the realignment of the A18 and B1211. The chosen design will cause minimum disruption and improve the junction. The next phase is to consult with residents to get their views on the plans and work with local landowners. A final decision will then be made on the design of the new bridge after comments have been considered. It's expected that the new bridge will be installed in 2018 after the consultation is finished, the plans have been confirmed and the tender process has been followed. The construction of the bridge is likely to take between a year and 18 months. Humberside Fire and Rescue Service is asking members of the public to nominate their local hero. The winner will be chosen by public vote and honoured at the service's 8th Annual Community Awards in November. Members of the public are being asked to think of someone they know who they feel has acted in a heroic manner and is deserving of receiving the Local Hero Award. The annual event celebrates the achievements of staff, partners and the public who have contributed to creating safer communities. The closing date for nominations is the 31st of August and can be made via the service's website. East Riding Libraries are expressing their delight that over 1,300 school children have signed up to the Summer Reading Challenge Big Friendly Read this year. The sessions started last week and take place every year during the summer holidays. Children aged 4 to 11 can sign up at their local library to read 6 books of their choice and attend weekly themed activity sessions, collecting stickers and rewards, all for free. This year's theme is Roald Dahl, marking the centenary of his birth. Councillor Richard Burton says he's delighted that all places across East Riding Libraries have now been filled, making this one of the most successful summer reading challenges to date. Every 6 seconds, somebody in crisis contacts the Samaritans, and 10 times a minute, the charity can help someone turn their life around. The charity operates round the clock every single day of the year and supports anyone through 201 branches across the UK and Republic of Ireland. It was set up back in 1953 by local man Chad Vare and was the first 24-hour helpline in the world. In 2011, there were 20,665 volunteers working for the Samaritans. However, more are now needed. And to tell me how people can get involved, I'm delighted to welcome my second guest today, Karen Locking, Deputy Director for Fundraising and Publicity for Scunthorpe Samaritans.
Hello.
Karen, thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Tell me why your particular area of the Samaritans are looking for volunteers.
Well, we've got 2 different branches and 2 different angles in our branch. We've got listening volunteers, who are people that take the telephone calls, answer the emails, answer the text messages that we receive. And we've got people in the actual shop. We've got a shop now on Ashby High Street as well in Scunthorpe. And then we've also, thinking about it, we've got the third side of things. We've got some people like myself, support volunteers, that don't do any of the phone calls, any of the answering, but actually support the back house of the charity. So we're looking for as many people as possible who would be interested in helping out.
So not just for the vital helpline service?
No, well, a lot of people seem to think, obviously, if they're volunteering for the Samaritans, it's the main helpline. Obviously, we've got the majority of our volunteers are there. We've got around 50 volunteers locally, but we've got about 30 that actually help with the shop and others that help with the support side of things as well.
Okay, so how can people become a volunteer with this vital charity?
Contacting the Scunthorpe Samaritans is currently something that we're looking at. So there is a mobile phone number that you can ring and get through to. It's 07730 525349, or you can go, if you Google Scunthorpe Samaritans and actually have a look that way around, then you can contact us via the website and get in touch that way.
Okay, fantastic. So we'll have flocks of ready and able volunteers hopefully after today's show, Karen.
Or pop into the shop, there's another good option, the shop on Ashby High Street.
To see how it's all done. Why are volunteers important to organisations like yourself?
Well, as you've rightly mentioned, actually the charity works with a lot of people and does take some really vital phone calls. If we didn't have any volunteers actually there, then those phone calls would go unanswered. Thankfully, we do link with other charities and the other Samaritans angles, so they will pick those calls up, but sooner or later you need somebody there to answer the phone. What
makes a good volunteer for the Samaritans?
Depending on what role they want to do. From a Samaritan's point of view, good listening always works out quite well. Non-judgmental works even better. But realistically, we've just had 2 people locally that have got on board. Somebody who's interested in becoming an assistant treasurer, somebody else who's wanting to help out on a marketing point of view. So we're working with people that just want to upskill themselves and help out with the charity. It's brilliant, really.
Absolutely. I mean, one of my other hats is volunteering, and you can almost make a career out of volunteering, can't you? Not just necessarily doing like the helpline or working in the charity shop. You can develop
Oh, definitely. And there are a lot of our volunteers that are actually now interested in getting involved in other aspects of the charity to develop their skills and help then with work side of things as well. We had a water station a while ago at the North Links Half Marathon, and the amount of volunteers that we got for that were just interested in smiling and clapping on the day.
Now, what particular training will the volunteers get if they're coming on board as, say, one of the helpline advisors giving support?
They get support within the team. It's a full programme that they actually work through. It's working with them, actually figuring out how they need to answer the calls and work with people. They also get mentors in branch, so they're not just, it's not a case of you just on the classroom sessions and then off you go. It's a case of working with them and really making sure they're supported. So if anybody's interested in helping, the Grimsby branch have obviously got Samaritans as well, but Scunthorpe, we'd love to have them on board.
Okay. Now, if somebody is in crisis, what number can they call?
The number's just changed recently. It's 116123. It's free phone number. It's free from landlines, free from mobiles, doesn't show up on anybody's bill. So it's one that if anybody needs to talk about anything, then actually the Samaritans are there able to listen.
Private, confidential.
Private, confidential, non-judgmental.
Volunteers have a ready ear.
They do indeed.
Karen, I wish you all the best with your volunteering drive. Thank you very much, Eve, for coming in on the
Thank you
surfer
very
today.
much. Thank you.
Now it's time for all the latest sporting action, courtesy of Fred.
Proud. I think that's the #1 feeling at the moment. That's what Hull FC captain Gareth Ellis had to say following the Black and Whites' victory against Wigan Warriors on Friday night. The Black and Whites blasted past the Serial Cup winners with a 16-12 result in the semi-final, which took place at the Keepmoat Stadium. The effort the boys put in was absolutely outstanding, Ellis continued. The amount of times we showed such resilience to keep Wigan at bay when they were attacking our line. Hull FC will now be venturing to Wembley for the first time since 2013. Hull FC head coach Lee Radford revealed that the secret to defeating the Wigan Warriors was matching uniforms. Speaking to FC Live after Friday's triumph, Radford stated, "I'll let you in onto a secret. It's the same outfit. Socks, underpants, the lot. They've not been washed and I'll be wearing them at Wembley." Adama Diomande is looking forward to the opportunity of playing in the Premier League. The Norwegian striker has scored 3 goals throughout his last 2 pre-season appearances. Despite a rocky start with the Tigers following an injury, he is hoping to make a tangible impact in the 2016-17 season. "I'm working on my match fitness and we have just under 2 weeks now until the Premier League season starts. I'm looking forward to getting my opportunity in the top league." Hull KR coach James Webster has recently revealed that his team will play a style of rugby that's not designed to please people, but rather secure their status in the Super League as part of the Middle Eights. "We're looking for the type of plays that get us wins," he said. "We may need to change our game plan to suit who we play and who we have available. I'm not going to put my hand up and play a certain way to please people. We're going to play a style that gives us the best chance of winning. We understand we need to improve in certain areas, but we're still pretty confident. We know it's going to be tough, but we're confident." And that's all for your sport.
That's it for this Monday evening, I'm afraid. As always, if you have a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages or email news at estuary.tv or phone our news desk, which is a Grimsby number 01472315553. We're waiting to take your calls. You can also put pen to paper and write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, DN34 5BQ. Thank you very much indeed to my guests today, Karen and Jane, for joining me on the server. And as always, thank you for watching. Join me same time tomorrow, live at 5:30, of course, when I'll be joined on the server by Zaza Warren, talking about the 15th annual Andy's Hospice motorbike run. Until tomorrow, from all of us on the team, have a great evening. See you tomorrow.
With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.
Hi and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Tonight we'll see outbreaks of rain through the evening. The rain will ease through the night, becoming dry, minimum temperatures of 12 degrees. Tomorrow we'll see a dry morning with some sunny spells, max temperatures of 20 degrees Celsius.
With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.
Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Luke Adams. In the headlines tonight, the future of the A18, a new campaign aimed at university students, helping the elderly thanks to a new volunteering scheme, and Snap Happy at a photography exhibition. And revving up is my guest tonight, Zaza Warren, talking motorbikes. Hello, good evening. Welcome to Tuesday's programme. First tonight, North East Lincolnshire Council has given an update on the action it needed to take with its partner ENGIE following an inquest into the deaths of 5 family members on the A18. Following the inquest in March, HM Coroner Paul Kelly instructed the Council and ENGIE to jointly commission an independent review of the safety of the A18 between the junction with the A46 Laceby roundabout and the Highway Authority boundary to the south. ACOM will now carry out a series of inspections of the A18 under full road closures for 1 week starting next Monday. A spokesperson for the council said that ultimately the purpose of this work is to prevent such a tragedy occurring again on this stretch of the A18. Humberside Police have launched a campaign aimed at the city's university student population. It's designed to appeal to students moving into student accommodation to increase awareness of home security while developing new policies with landlords on the security advice given to students. It will see posters displayed on the doors of every student property in Hull which highlight the need to keep doors and windows locked to keep homes secure from burglary. In the New London University wards, Humberside Police regularly receive reports of burglars getting into student houses through unlocked doors before stealing laptops, mobiles and tablets. PC Steve Morley, Community Beat Manager for the Newland ward, said the force are delighted to be working with landlords and the Hull University Union on this initiative, as it will make a big difference in improving home security. Organisers of this year's Grimsby 10K have said the inaugural event has put the greats back into Grimsby. Around 15,000 eager runners raced through the streets and pavements of the town in the event which took place over the weekend. Now organisers are aiming to build on the success of the race for next year, as Councillor Jane Hilden King explained to me on last night's show.
All I can say, what a marvellous achievement. I mean, it really was the great put back in Grimsby yesterday.
Fantastic. And
the people who came, the air was electric. That many people attended. I've never seen so many people having fun, families, children.
Hull City Council started work to widen the carriageway on Annalby Road today following the completion of utility diversion works. 3-way temporary traffic signals have been installed and will be controlled manually during morning and evening peak periods as work to improve traffic flow gets underway. The work is expected to be completed by December with a temporary break during Hull Fair to allow traffic to flow freely. Signs will be in place to guide pedestrians and motorists, and digital signs will display up-to-date information about the works. Graham Hall, Assistant City Manager for Street Scene, said that once the works have been completed, the project will relieve congestion, but there will inevitably be some disruption to traffic whilst the works are in progress. Humberside Police and Crime Commissioner Keith Hunter will attend the Humberside Police and Crime Panel meeting tomorrow. The panel will discuss Mr Hunter's plans for the area and find out what his hopes, aspirations and key priorities are for his 4-year term as Police and Crime Commissioner. As well as his future plans, the panel will speak to Mr Hunter about some comments he made during his election campaign. The Police and Crime Panel for the Humberside Police area has been set up to scrutinise, support and challenge the Police and Crime Commissioner. It's formed of representatives from all 4 Humber councils. Volunteers are needed to support elderly people in the Brandsome area of Hull. They've received £9,000 worth of funding to get a new initiative underway, thanks to Brandsome East Ward Councillor and former Lord Mayor of Kingston upon Hull, Anita Harrison. Training and expenses can be provided to ensure volunteers can come forward to help the increasing elderly population, as Councillor Harrison and Ray Drayton, who run the service, explain.
Well, it first started when I visited an elderly lady, and she was bedbound, so she had a TV in her living room, and but she couldn't watch the TV during the day because the sun was shining on it. And it was just a matter of moving around the furniture, and her quality of life shot up because she was in bed all day, she could watch the TV. It's just simple things like that. And this money that we received will help, we can get safety equipment, we can get equipment to do the gardens, and we can pay for travel expenses, which is really good. And what we want the volunteers to do is, it's not a lot of hard work, it's just something that they can come in, couple of hours, wash a few pots, might make a sandwich, make the bed and say, right, I'll see you next week or I'll see you tomorrow.
I think a lot of volunteers that we want to do, they can see there's a need, and I think the satisfaction is when they leave the person's home and she's happy or he's happy. It's like a lot of people, they like the gardens but they can't maintain them. So a couple of hours working in the garden will make that person happy for the rest of the week or fortnight, you know. And if we can keep on top, then we can keep them happy, and hopefully down the line we might get more funding so we can expand the project.
We need about 20 volunteers really, and they can get in touch by ringing me. My phone number is 07766 468 016. If they give me a ring, I can put the name down, get their address and phone numbers, and I'll be in touch with them.
Okay, and you've had a couple of people coming forward?
Yes, we have. We've had a few people coming forward. We haven't received the money yet. We've signed the papers and there's some things we've got to do, and then I think it was 35 days we'll get the money. It's coming at a good time because by the time we get set up and that, it'd be winter, autumn and winter coming in, and that's when the elderly do really need you. At the moment when it's winter and we've got a lot of bad snow, we went out with soup and a roll, making sure that there was, at least they've had something hot for the day. So it'd be things like that in the winter that we can do.
It's time to rev up for the Andes Children's Hospice annual motorbike run. Now in its 15th year, the popular event is once again being held to raise vital funds for children and young people with life-limiting illnesses. To date, the event has raised more than £40,000 for the charity. In previous years, scores of bikers have taken to the roads for the run, which is taking place next month. To tell me more about it, I'm delighted to welcome our guest today, Zaza Warren, hospice representative for Lincolnshire. Did you come in on your motorbike this afternoon?
I didn't,
Zaza?
no. I don't even own a motorbike.
Okay, but you got here safe and sound.
I did get here safely.
To tell me about this event.
So this is our 15th anniversary of the motorbike run. It's something that we do to raise money for the hospice.
Okay.
And it just attracts a different kind of crowd of people rather than your general, taking part in different sort of events, running events and things like that. It's a different way of raising funds.
Because there is a huge motorbike
There's a
community.
massive motorbike community, yes.
Do people flock to this event from all corners of the UK?
They do. Well, we have them from all over really, so we try and publicise it as much as possible in like motorbike magazines and different groups and things. But yeah, we're very lucky that it's supported by lots of different kind of biking events as well, from like kind of cruisers to sports bikes and things like that, and old bikes like Triumphs and things. So we get them all. It's fantastic, yeah.
Running since 2001, Zaza.
Yeah.
Why has this event become so successful?
I think because it is such a nice ride out. It's a nice area. Lincolnshire's lovely anyway. I mean, that's why we live here. So yeah, so it's a nice route. Although we have changed the route a little bit this year, so that's a little bit exciting. So that'll be nice for them.
Are you allowed to tell me about the routes?
About the route? Well, go on then. We're starting at Willingham Woods. We always start there every year. It's a massive meeting place for bikers. It's so well known anyway. So we're going to keep it the same. We're going to meet down at Willingham Woods. And then we're going to travel on to Lincoln. I will be pillion, so I will be on a motorbike myself.
So have you had to do a lot of training then?
Well, no, I've always been, my friends have got bikes and my uncle and such like, so I've been a pillion many a time, so hopefully I'll be okay. So then from there we're going to travel down to Lincoln, and we're going down to Waddington to the aircraft viewing area, and there's a cafe down there. And they're very, very good, and they support us every year, so it's nice to return back to them. And then from there we're actually going to go across to Horncastle this year, so we're taking in the Bardney Bends, if you've ever heard of the Bardney Bends.
I haven't, but it sounds very exotic.
Yes, it's an interesting road. It's nice for motorbikes to kind of, take a steady drive down.
Because this isn't a competition.
It's not a competition. It's not a race at all. No,
it's a gentle meander.
It's a gentle, yes. It's a gathering and a nice ride out with friends and family and such like. So it's just a chance for all bikers to get together.
Fantastic.
And then we finish at the Splash at Little Corthorpe.
And the emphasis as well on a family fun day.
Yeah, it is. It's for everybody to take part in. So whether it is, mums and dads coming out with the kids, or because it's very much for people to come and have a look at the bikes as well. So it's not all just about the riders. We have a lot of people that like to just come and see the bikes, and because there's such a different range in bikes that attend, it's nice for bike enthusiasts to just come along and have a look.
How many bikers roughly take part in this event?
We're hoping for about 200 is kind of quite normal.
And that's a manageable number, I would imagine.
It is. It's a nice number to see biking going down the road. it's quite interesting to see. But yeah, it's quite manageable as well. Kind of keep us all together and get going. So yeah, it's really good.
Fantastic. Now, £40,000 has been raised for the charity
yes.
since this event was set up.
Yeah.
How does that money help benefit the hospice?
It just makes such a massive difference. I mean, the hospice itself, the children's hospice, it costs £1.8 million a year to run the children's hospice. It's a massive amount of money.
Of course.
And we only get 3% government funding for that. Okay. So the rest really does come through donations and fundraising. So that's why we hold these events, you know, to help us raise that money. And 40,000 just goes such a long way and makes it that we can actually keep the hospice open and provide the venue and the care that we do through our staff for the children across Lincolnshire.
Vital funds for a worthwhile charity. Well, Zaza, please stay on the server because we'll continue our chat after this short break, if that's okay.
That's quite all right.
Thank you very much indeed. Join me after the break then when we'll have more of the day's headlines, a pledge for volunteers, and we'll be looking through the lens. Welcome back, you're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, a pledge for volunteers, more from Zaza Warren, and Fred brings us all the latest sporting action. North Lincolnshire Council is encouraging people to nominate community champions who should be recognised for their achievements. The 5th Community Champion Awards will be held in November at the Baths Hall in Scunthorpe. The awards are aimed at bringing people together and celebrating their dedication to their communities. There are 22 awards where individuals or groups can be nominated for the time they've dedicated to volunteering or for simply being a true inspiration to others. The closing date for nominations is the 18th of September. Winners will receive a trophy and certificate, and runners-up will receive a certificate. Cash raised at a family fun day will help keep newborn babies safe as they sleep. Breathing monitors are being purchased for the neonatal intensive care unit at Scunthorpe Hospital, following donations made by Emma and Lee Clay. Their son Alfie spent time on the unit after he was born in January. The couple have donated £1,520 to the unit following an event they held last month in Nottinghamshire. In total, £2,790 was raised on the day, with proceeds being split between the unit and the air ambulance service. The couple are now planning more fundraising events for the unit. Next this afternoon, every 6 seconds, somebody in crisis contacts the Samaritans, and 10 times a minute the charity can help someone turn their life around. The charity operates round the clock every single day of the year and supports anyone through 201 branches across the UK and Republic of Ireland. In 2011, there were 20,665 volunteers working for the Samaritans. However, more volunteers are now needed, and Karen Locking explains why they're vital to the organisation.
Well, we've got 2 different branches and 2 different angles in our branch. We've got listening volunteers, who are people that take the telephone calls, answer the emails, answer the text messages that we receive. And we've got people in the actual shop. We've got a shop now on Ashby High Street as well in Scunthorpe. And then we've also, thinking about it, we've got the third side of things. We've got some people like myself, support volunteers, that don't do any of the phone calls, any of the answering, but actually support the back houses of the charity. So we're looking for as many people as possible who would be interested in helping out.
Cleethorpes Discovery Centre is currently playing host to an exhibition of the works of 2 local amateur photographers. Bob Riak, who works in finance, and Joe Bird, a retired teacher, debuted their joint exhibition last week and have flooded the centre with a wide range of photography, including nighttime, landscape, wildlife and nature. The exhibition runs for 3 months and offers regular visitors of the centre a fresh experience. Fred spoke to the artists to find out more.
I went out and did a couple of nighttime photographs, and from that I'm just amazed what the camera can find, what light it can find. People often see some of the nighttime pictures I've done and say, what sort of lighting have you used? There's no lighting, it's what the camera finds. So it's a bit different. I like doing it. The only trouble with nighttime photography is, especially in the summertime, it don't get dark till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So you've got to sit there and plan your night and think, well look, making that effort to go out afterwards and continue doing it, and not having a drink so you can drive. And that's the thing. And the other problem is, in the winter, when it's darker earlier, it's so bitter cold when you're going out. I mean, some of the pictures that's on display here, one of Whitby for example, we've got up at 2 o'clock in the morning to drive to Whitby for 4 o'clock to get sunrise. that never happened. There was cloud came, but we got an amazing picture at 4 a.m. in the morning and drove back. So it takes a lot of dedication sometimes.
I think because I grew up in the countryside, and my dad was very natural, and he loved nature, he loved geology, archaeology, and I think that my mum also, she's very artistic, and they've both taught me to appreciate nature and that aspect, and I think that really has inspired me to see things and want to experience different things, but outside in the country.
Basically what happened, we did some nighttime pictures in Cleethorpes. I did some work for a client who wanted me to take some pictures on Grimsby docks that do outside lighting. We did some lighting on the docks. Me and Joe came down to do some of the lighting down there, some pictures at evening from there. Normally you're not allowed to take pictures on the dock area, so we had a pass to go on there. So while we was there, we drove down to do some pictures by the pier, because we also did all the photography for Cleethorpes Pier during the renovation. We got some amazing nighttime pictures down at the pier, and somebody from the local authority saw them, then approached us and asked us if we'd do an exhibition. We've never done one before, so we said, well, right, yeah, we'll do one, but we didn't realise what was involved. There's 60 odd pictures here. It took a lot to select them. It's cost quite a lot of money just to print them as well.
To be out and about and to be living in the minute and just seeing what there is to take photographs of, and to really just be relaxed and to enjoy myself, really.
Everything about photography gets me out, gets me away from my business, and helps me chill out. That's the main thing from it.
Still with me in the studio, Zaza Warren, telling me about the Andes Hospice annual motorbike run. Zaza, thank you for staying with me. The money raised we was talking about earlier, phenomenal achievement, £40,000. How else does that money benefit the charity?
Well, we provide lots of services within the hospice. We have daycare, and we also have respite care for our children, but we also offer a home care as well.
Right.
So we have our nurses that actually go out, family support workers that support the children and the parents and carers in the community as well at home. So that's really important that we can fund that.
Yeah, through obviously lots of fundraising.
Yeah, yeah.
Why is that so important to provide that home service?
A lot of our children do come into the hospice, and that is lovely because it's a nice time for them to be able to enjoy, but also it gives respite for the family as well. But that's not always possible, and sometimes the children are too poorly to come into the hospice, or there's family reasons that they can't attend the hospice. So it's very important for us that actually that care doesn't stop just because they can't come into the hospice, that actually our staff are available to go out and support them and provide the same care that they would have in the hospice at home. We provide a home from home, scenario with the hospice, so it's important for us to be able to go out and do the same support within the actual home.
So you're doing a sterling job.
We try our best.
Now the annual bike run.
Yeah.
It's the 15th year.
It is, yes.
Tell me importantly, when is the actual event?
It's on Sunday the 4th of September, and it begins at Willingham Woods. It costs £5 to enter, so that's £5 per rider, and it's just a case of turn up, and you don't have to prepay. We'll just take the money on the day, so just come along for 11:30 at Willingham Woods, and we'll all meet and we go from there. Obviously come earlier if you want an ice cream beforehand, but yes, it's Sunday the 4th of September.
An army of motorbikers.
Army of motorbikers.
And we hope to
ice
have
cream.
some great British summer weather.
We are, fingers crossed, hoping. Well, we've had some pretty good weather, so we're hoping it's going to stick around, yeah.
Fingers crossed it will last. Well, I wish you all the best with the event on the
so
1st of September. Thank you very much indeed for coming in. And come and see us again, perhaps?
I will, definitely. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Now here's Fred with all the latest sporting action.
The Lashings All-Stars will play against Cleethorpes Cricket Club on Friday the 5th of August. The Lashings international team consists of players stretching from England to New Zealand, Pakistan and the West Indies. The team manager will be David Smith of England, and the team's coach for the day will be Gordon Greenwich of the West Indies. Play is scheduled to begin at 3:30 p.m. and will take place on Chichester Road. Operation Graham has recently concluded with a resounding success. The crowdfunded project was set up by Grimsby Town Director Lee Mullen and his wife Sue in an effort to raise funds for Mariner supporter Graham Holness, who was diagnosed with bowel cancer. The project has raised £1,800 and the funds will be used to help Graham's family with the travel costs to Hull for the treatment. Hull City have unfortunately failed in persuading Mohamed Diarmi to stay at the KC Stadium. He is now set to sign for Newcastle United for £4.5 million. Diarmi, who scored the winning goal for Hull back in May during their playoff final against Sheffield Wednesday, is expected to finalise the deal during the next 48 hours. Scunthorpe United captain Stephen Dawson has reflected on his team's performance at the pre-season fixture list, which drew to a close on Saturday. Rivals Hartlepool United insisted on making the day a challenge for the Iron, which Dawson saw all too clearly. "I feel as a team we could have played a lot better," he says. "We set high standards and we've gone off after the game and had a few words with one another. That's the joy of pre-season though. It offers you the opportunity to make mistakes and it doesn't count for anything." Fans can now look ahead to the Irons match against Bristol Rovers. And that's all for your sport.
That's it for tonight, I'm afraid. Just time to quickly tell you that this Sunday, the 7th of August, marks International Friendship Day, a day to celebrate those special people in your life. Perhaps you have a picture of what friendship means to you. If so, please send it in to us. Friday, the 19th of August, is World Photo Day. If you have any happy snaps, we'd love to see them too. And as always, if you have a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages or email news@estuary.tv or phone our news desk 01472 31553. You can also write to Estuary TV Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, DN34 5BQ. Thank you very much today to my guests for joining me on the sofa, and as always, thank you for watching. Until tomorrow, from all of us on the team, good evening.
With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby. Hi there and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Tonight will be cloudy with patchy rain or drizzle. It will, however, turn drier across the region overnight, with minimum temperatures of 15 degrees. Tomorrow we'll see a mixture of bright or sunny spells with some scattered showers. Again, these showers could turn heavy into the evening with maximum temperatures of 20 degrees. With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.
Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Dan Kemp. In the show tonight, we head to the Ongo Homes Free Carnival. News on yet more cycling planned for the East Riding following the success of the Tour de Yorkshire and the Tour de France, and an appeal for volunteers to help the elderly in Bransholme. All this plus Carl Simpson and Lisa Gage are here to talk about Project Hot Dog, and they'll be replaced in the second half by Ashley Lovett and Zenka Watson, who will be telling us about an old favourite coming to Grimsby Auditorium with help of the actors and actresses of tomorrow. All this and the sports news coming up after the headlines. Welcome to Estuary News this Wednesday evening. Humberside's Police and Crime Commissioner Keith Hunter has been in front of the Forces Police and Crime Panel for the first time today. He's been talking through his future plans for the authority for the next 4 years after replacing Matthew Grove in the post 3 months ago. Humberside Police are appealing for witnesses following a robbery outside a shop on Princess Avenue in Hull. A 42-year-old man was punched and knocked to the floor before his wallet was taken outside the Premier store in Hull at 5:15 p.m. yesterday. The suspect is described as white, in his 40s, and around 5 foot tall, with a slim but muscular build and short blonde hair. He was wearing blue shorts and possibly a white t-shirt. The East Riding will host a stage start or finish of the Tour de Yorkshire for the next 3 years, thanks to a partnership between East Riding of Yorkshire Council and Welcome to Yorkshire. The organisations have entered into a 3-year commercial agreement to promote cycling and advertise the area as a must-visit destination. It's hoped the agreement will help achieve the council's aim of growing tourism and increasing visitor spend in the East Riding to boost the local economy. The partnership also seeks to maximise on the legacy of the Grand Départ of the Tour de France and build on the success of the first 2 Tour de Yorkshire races. CCTV has been released of 2 males following an assault and criminal damage at a newsagent's on Newland Avenue in Hull. The incident happened between 12 p.m. and 10 past on Thursday the 28th of July. A male entered the store and was asked to leave after messing with sweets in the shop by the member of staff. He refused, and during a minor scuffle, the victim was allegedly spat at and racially abused. A short time later, the male returned with a second male and they allegedly assaulted the victim and threw a case of beer on the floor before leaving the store. Information boards have appeared throughout Hull city centre telling the historical stories of the streets. 6 boards have been installed in areas including the Public Realm project and offer an insight into how some of the main city centre streets used to look and operate in years gone by. Boards are stationed at Beverley Gate, Humber Street, Jameson Street, Paragon Square, Queen Victoria Square and Trinity Square. Volunteers are needed to support elderly people in the Brantholme area. They've received £9,000 worth of funding to get a new initiative underway thanks to Brantholme East Award Councillor and former Lord Mayor of the Kingston upon Hull, Anita Harrison. Training and expenses can be provided to ensure volunteers can come forward to help the increasing elderly population, as Councillor Harrison and Ray Drayton, who run the service, explain.
Well, it first started when I visited an elderly lady, and she was bedbound, so she had a TV in her living room, but she couldn't watch the TV during the day because the sun was shining on it. And it was just a matter of moving around the furniture, and her quality of life shot up because she was in bed all day, she could watch the TV. It's just simple things like that. And this money that we received will help, we can get safety equipment, we can get equipment to do the gardens, and we can pay for travel expenses, which is really good. And what we want the volunteers to do is, it's not a lot of hard work, it's just something that they can come in, couple of hours, wash a few pots, might make a sandwich, make the bed and say, right, I'll see you next week or I'll see you tomorrow.
I think a lot of volunteers that we want to do, they can see there's a need, and I think the satisfaction is when they leave the person's home and she's happy or he's happy. It's like a lot of people, they like the gardens but they can't maintain them. So a couple of hours working in the garden will make that person happy for the rest of the week or fortnight, And if we can keep on top, then we can keep them happy, and hopefully down the line we might get more funding so we can expand the project.
We need about 20 volunteers really, and they can get in touch by ringing me. My phone number is 07766 468 016. If they give me a ring, I can put the name down, get their address and phone numbers, and I'll be in touch with them.
Okay, and you've had a couple of people coming forward?
Yes, we have. We've had a few people coming forward. We haven't received the money yet. We've signed the papers and there's some things we've got to do. And then I think it was 35 days we'll get the money. It's coming at a good time because by the time we get set up and that, it'd be winter, autumn and winter coming in, and that's when the elderly do really need you. At the moment when it's winter and we've got a lot of bad snow, we went out with soup and a roll, making sure that at least they've had something hot for the day. So it'd be things like that in the winter that we can do.
Next up, it's time to talk to my first guests on the sofa. Carl Simpson and Lisa Gage are from the Project Hot Dog and are here to tell me more about it. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Right, first then, tell us a little about Project Hot Dog and the strange name that it holds.
Right, basically what we do is we run a soup kitchen twice a week on a Saturday and a Monday. The reason for the name is because we started off with the idea of what difference we could make with £5. We bought 40 hot dogs and managed to feed 40 people on Saturday night. From then, we've changed carried it forward to make a regular soup kitchen now.
Okay, so tell us what your role is it then within it is then, Carl.
I'm one of the co-founders myself, and the other co-founder, Chris Wynn, who can't be here today. We came up with this idea in March. Basically, for me, the story is slightly different to Chris's. I got into it as a way of saying thanks for the support that I got for a time last year when I needed I got married in hospital last year, and it was I got so much support from the public that it was a way for me to say thank you, and that's when my eyes were opened and when we realised we needed to do more. Okay,
and Lisa, then tell me a little bit about what you're doing as well. You're volunteering with them?
Yes, I am. How it came about was I saw Carl's and his wife's story in Canada. I was living in Canada at the time, and when I came to England and then in March I saw the post about Project Hot Dog and I wanted to get involved, and I messaged the page, and the other founder, Chris Wynn, messaged me back saying, yeah, please come along, we'd love to have you. And they really made me feel part of the family and the group, and it was just amazing. And just going down there and seeing, because seeing is believing, there's so many homeless. There's between 50 and 100 we're feeding on a Saturday and a Monday night. And if anybody wants to come down and have a look for themselves, they're more than welcome.
Okay, and as a volunteer then, what kind of things are you up to?
Well, anything they ask me. I mean, we do drop-offs to hostels, pickups from various places, don't we? Tesco's, Sainsbury's, they're all involved. So I take whatever they give me to hostels, unless we're using them on the kitchen, which is a Saturday and a Monday. And my role, do anything they ask, serve tea, food, talk to everybody, because that's what they want mainly. They want us to talk to them, you know, make them feel like just an ordinary person.
Okay, when we were talking before, you mentioned obviously a lot of big supermarkets that are helping you out, and you said you only started in March. That must be a real testament, I suppose, to the work that you've done then.
It's smashing, it's unbelievable. We've managed to get support from Tesco. We've got that basically straight away. They came on board as realising we were just such a good community project. They've supported us. We've got more than one branch of Tesco on board now, and also we did have Netto's on board, but unfortunately they've disbanded. But Sainsbury's have come forward with a couple of local stores now as well. So we're getting regular donations of food, which we supply, as Lisa said, to all the kitchens, and the majority of the kitchens in Hull and shelters.
Yeah, I feel like we shouldn't go any further without mentioning the word hot dog.
Yep.
Where on earth does that come from? Because that's not a name you'd have thought to associate with a homeless shelter.
That goes back to the way we started off with the 40 hot dogs for £5. After we fed 40 people with the £5, and then the week later we had a guy came back to us, Carl his name was, and gave us £5 back, and it was one of the guys we fed on the first week. He managed to get £5, which is a great deal to these people, and he wanted us to carry on with it and feed another 40 people. So we knew the good we was doing, so we knew we needed to do more, so we set up the kitchens and basically started off on a Saturday, and now we've managed to progress to 40. We've got such a good group of volunteers coming along doing so much. Wouldn't be able to do it without them.
Of which Lisa is one?
Lisa is one, yeah. We're one of several. We've got about 20 volunteers altogether now since March.
And we've got a hairdresser involved now.
Yeah, we've got
a hairdresser?
Yeah, she comes and cuts hair, and it's amazing. You want to see the transformation, just to make them feel better.
It must make a massive difference.
It does.
You know, a small difference to some people, but to them it must make a massive difference.
It is massive, because, I mean, they come and then they look totally different.
They fit in.
They just fit right in. I bet, because if someone came along and looked at them when before the haircut, they wouldn't have looked twice at them, but then when they've got the haircut, they think, oh, right, yeah, that looks nice.
Okay, and just brief then, how many people do you think that you're helping out then in the area, in the whole area?
Well, in total, if you take into account all the soup kitchens we provide and the shelters we're sending food to, we're talking probably 400 a week. But actually a towel kitchen is not that many. We get like between 50 and 100 people turn up, depending weather takes a big part because people don't want to leave the shelter. We get that turn up every Monday and Saturday, and so we go through quite a lot of food, so we rely totally on donations.
Okay, we should just, sorry to cut you short, I just want to really quickly get in the details of the hot dog walk you're doing.
That's it, that's what we're here.
Yeah.
Go on then, tell us a little bit about it.
Well, basically what we're trying to do is our aim is to walk from Beverley to Hull, dressed as giant hot dogs, to raise awareness for the homeless issue. It's on the 21st of August, Sunday, 9:30 at Wednesday Market in Beverley. We hope to finish around about 5:30 at Queen's Gardens.
Okay.
I would
We'll
like
put more
really
information on our
one-
Facebook page as well, so people can get involved.
Yeah,
We'll have to leave it
definitely.
there,
Our Facebook
unfortunately.
page, Project Hot Dog.
Okay, and join me after the break when you'll be able to hear from my second set of guests. They'll take the Yellow Brick Road, and Lily will be here with all the latest news from the world of sport. Welcome back, you're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, I'll have more guests on the sofa as we hear about a play coming to Grimsby Auditorium. Fred heads on down to a carnival in Scunthorpe, and Lily will be here with all the latest sports news. Grimsby's BHS store has shut its doors for the final time after more than 40 years in the town centre. It's one of the 114 remaining shops that are to close over the next few weeks, including the one in Freshney Place. It shut at 5:30 p.m, with the rest of the stores around the country closing by August the 20th. Scunthorpe Hospital League of Friends has purchased an AccuVein for the emergency department at Scunthorpe General Hospital. The AccuVein AV400 is a device which allows hospital staff to shine a light onto patients' arms to help identify veins easily when giving injections. Ward Sister Nicole Seeley said the device is already making a massive difference to the department, helping us in both routine and life-threatening situations. They're also grateful to the League of Friends and can't thank them enough. A brother and sister from Bransholme have been awarded a top prize at the British Heart Foundation North Heart Hero Awards. Lewis and Chloe Hare were awarded the prize in their category as their dad Neil, a fit paramedic clinical supervisor, died suddenly from a heart attack aged just 52. Within weeks of his death, they'd already started raising money for the charity, setting up a Facebook page to honour their dad and selling pin badges in his memory. On-Go Homes have spent the day away from their offices and instead flooded Burringham Road playing fields in Scunthorpe with bouncy castles, trampolines, coconut shies, martial arts displays and cheerleaders. The company specialise in renting out accommodation in the North Lincolnshire area and help people in their own homes with repairs and maintenance work. However, today On-Go hosted a free carnival designed to strengthen their presence and relationships in the local community, as well as giving other small businesses the chance to be seen. Fred McNamara went along to find out more.
The idea is at On-Go we have a promise of everything we do we put back into local communities, and this is just one of the things that we do. We put on this free event where everybody can get together. It gets groups together, it gets communities together who wouldn't necessarily always talk to each other. They can all come together, have some fun, learn a bit more about On-Go and all the services that we provide, from things like training to housing, or a whole host of things really.
Well, we've been invited by On-Go to take part in the carnival today because we're Health Watch North Lincolnshire. So our patch is the whole of the North Lincolnshire area. There are actually about 150 local health watches across the whole country, and we represent the consumer when it comes to issues to do with health and social care. So we've got a dog joining in there. That's great. I mean, it's a really busy event. There's lots of kids. We've been asking the kids to fill out surveys about their experience of GPs and dentists and those sorts of things. But we've also been talking to the public about issues they might be having with hospital care, social care, residential homes, possibly accessing GP appointments. We do massive pieces of research on those, and then we have a statutory power to take those issues to the commissioners and to the providers, and they have to address those, and the whole idea is to make sure that the patient's voice gets heard.
Okay, just time out drum therapy. It started about 3.5 years ago as an idea, as part of a sort of a niche opportunity really, and to fill a gap I thought hadn't been filled by statutory provision. So we're really actually working with people, young people, older people, particularly those with challenging behaviour presented through autism, ADHD, Asperger's and other challenging behaviour conditions which bring about anger and frustration, sometimes aggression, violence. It's about actually calming people down through the therapy of the drums, the therapeutic effect of the drums, and actually come to the point where they're able to think rationally and clearly, and above all noise as well, like this. Once they become into that calm state, they're able to actually think clearly and think about how the condition can affect them and identify the issues that they have.
Well, we're very lucky that one member of ONGO's senior management team is actually one of the volunteers on our board of directors. So we have a small professional staff team, but we have lots of local people who volunteer with us, including our directors. So we have that link there. But also North Lincolnshire Homes, as they were ONGO, have really been supportive of the work of Health Watch, and they make sure that our information gets out to all of their tenants.
It was only a couple of years ago that we actually started using the name ONGO. We were North Lincolnshire Homes previous to that, and people are still trying to get used to that kind of transition of the name change, and to be able to put on an event like this where everybody can come down and that you can learn more about us as a landlord, because we do offer homes, but we do offer much more than that. We offer, you know, training, care, support. There's loads going on, and not everybody knows that, so this is a great place for people to come and learn more about it.
Well, I think the main thing is this is a chance to do the engagement that we need to do with local people. We haven't got a lot of money to advertise ourselves. Health Watch is still a relatively new sort of thing around for people, so not everybody will have heard about us. So this is an opportunity to tell them what we do, and we've collected a lot of information today. We've got a survey running about issues that people might be experiencing. We've also got a box on our stall where we're asking people to put their answers in a jar about whether GPs should be using something called social prescribing, which is a new idea where instead of getting a prescription for a drug, you might get a prescription for an exercise class, for example. So it's about engaging with the public.
There will definitely be one plan for next year. Yeah, we just hope that we can get more and more people involved, and then if anybody's got any ideas of what they would like us to put on, then please do get in contact with us.
Now in its 13th year, Links Inspire and Grimsby Auditorium are to host 4 performances of the classical musical The Wizard of Oz. Over 120 local 9 to 19-year-olds were tempted to take up the auditions for a place in the production, which is on this weekend. And to tell me more, Ashley Lovett and Zenka Watson here with me now. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having us.
And firstly then, tell us both what you're going to be doing.
You go first.
Well, I got the part of Dorothy.
That's a big part.
Show. Yeah, it is a big part. A lot of lines to learn as well.
What does it mean to you to be part of it then?
It means a lot because I've never done this project before. This is my first time, and the fact that I got cast as the main part of my first time is really good for me. It just makes me feel really good about myself.
Okay, and Ashley as well, same to you.
Same for me. I'm the Tin Man, and this is actually my first Links Inspire Summer Youth experience too. And like Zenka, it's really humbling to be a part of it, and also to get a principal role in my first one. So.
Okay, what kind of experience have you had from it both so far then?
So we've been given the opportunity by Links Inspire Summer Youth Experience to work with professionals such as the director Robin Martin Oliver, Barry Whitfield, a musical director, and also Leslie Swaby, she's our choreographer. So amateurs like us, amateurs,
for now,
who want to actually move on into the professional industry, it's great because we get a taste of it now.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
Absolutely brilliant for you both to be part of it then.
Yeah, it's great.
Obviously, importantly, before we get off as well, you need to tell us when and where and how people can get involved and get tickets.
So you can either go into the box office at the auditorium, and I believe you can get them online as well. It will be Friday, 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. and same on Saturday.
Brilliant. Thank you both very much for coming in.
Thank you.
And good luck and don't break a leg. Now it's time for the sports news with Lily.
Hull City play their penultimate pre-season friendly this evening as they look to prepare themselves for their return to the Premier League. The 6 o'clock kick-off against Turkish side Kayserispor comes against the backdrop of yet more uncertainty for the Tigers, who are still managerless with just 10 days to go until the new season. One of the favourites for the post, Wales manager Chris Coleman, is seemingly out of the running following a statement from the Welsh FA yesterday, which said they'd be unwilling to let him talk to the city. This leaves former West Ham and Watford boss Gianfranco Zola and former Everton Wigman manager Roberto Martinez as the current fort runners. And of course, we'll bring you any updates in tonight's results in tomorrow's show. Meanwhile, the Hull City Supporters Trust have announced their plans to protest against the ownership of the club at the opening league game. They say that, like they did last game season, thousands of cards will be handed out to supporters to hold up and that they're planning their protest too. The Tigers host the reigning Premier League champions Leicester City a week on Saturday. There's now just 3 days to go until the start of the Football League and National League season. Scunthorpe United will get underway at Graham Alexander's former club Fleetwood Town. Their captain Stephen Dawson has been reflecting on a positive pre-season after struggling for fitness last year. He says he's delighted to be feeling as fit as he is going to the start of the champions struggling last time around. North Ferriby United have announced their squad members ahead of the first ever season in the top flight of non-league. Just 9 of the 21 players in the squad were with the club at the end of last season after many of the squad followed former manager Billy Heath to Halifax Town. Amongst those that remain, club captain Danny Clark takes 7, Wigner Chris Bateson is 8 and Ryan Kendall will be 10. New assistant manager Darren Stamp is also a squad number, he's 17. On to Rugby League and Hull FC, head coach Lee Radford says he appreciates the importance of having 4 home games in Super 8s. The Black and Whites earn the advantage of having led at the table at end of regular 23 fixtures. The first of the games is at the KCOM Stadium against Castleford Tigers, kicking off at 8 p.m. And Hull Kingston Rovers prop James Green has been ruled out for the rest of the 2016 season. The forward dislocated his AC joint in the defeat to Leeds last month and will now miss the Super 8 qualifiers to begin his rehabilitation programme. And that's all for the sport.
That's it for tonight. If you've got a news story, then visit our Facebook or Twitter pages or email news@estuary.tv, or you can phone us on 01472 31 553. Or alternatively, you can write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, DN 34 5BQ. Until tomorrow, good evening.
With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.
Hi and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Tonight we'll see outbreaks of rain through the evening. The rain will ease through the night, becoming dry, minimum temperatures of 12 degrees. Tomorrow we'll see a dry morning with some sunny spells, max temperatures of 20 degrees Celsius.
With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.
Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. I'm Dan Kemp. In the headlines tonight, proposals for a new helipad at the back of Hull Royal Infirmary. An armed robber is sentenced to 16 years in prison. And firefighters were called to Louth Town Football Club Stadium for a second time last night. All this plus we'll hear from Grimsby Town Manager Paul Hurst on his search for new players ahead of the season getting underway on Saturday. We'll also hear from Scunthorpe United's Tom Hopper. And joining me on the sofa tonight, Gemma Croft and Corinne Savage, telling us about International Breastfeeding Week. But first, the headlines this Thursday evening. Hull and East Yorkshire Hospitals NHS Trust has submitted proposals to Hull City Council to create a new helipad at the back of Hull Royal Infirmary. Currently, the hospital serves as a major trauma centre, regularly receiving and organising patients by air ambulance. The Trust has consulted with all of its air ambulance providers and staff currently housed in the outgoing buildings and have given alternative accommodation at Castle Hill Hospital or elsewhere on the Hull Royal site. The helipad is expected to be fully operational by the spring of 2017. 43-year-old Heike Medoyan has been sentenced to 16 years in prison as a result of a series of highly frightening armed robberies. He had denied 16 offences, including 5 charges of robbery, 3 of attempted robbery and 8 of possessing an imitation firearm. The attempts included an armed raid at a First Choice Travel in Victoria Street, Grimsby in 2006, where he left empty-handed. He was also found guilty of robbery in Thompson's Travel Agents in Scunthorpe High Street in 2007, where he took over £20,000. For the second time in consecutive nights, firefighters were called to Louth Town Football Club Stadium yesterday evening. Fire investigators declared it as an arson attack and consequently 2 local men aged 21 and 37 years were both later bailed until next month. Plans for a glass elevator taking passengers to the top of the Humber Bridge have been rejected by Hessle Town Council. The proposed lift is part of a major development scheme proposed by the Humber Bridge Board, including installation of lifts, gondolas and viewing platforms. At a planning meeting of Hessle Town Council on Tuesday, local councillors strongly objected to the applications due to concerns the plans would cause traffic chaos in Hessle and on the Humber Bridge. Humberside Police has launched a campaign this summer to help kids from all ages to stay safe. The police aim to work on and address issues such as antisocial behaviour, cyber safety and peer pressure and the dangers of drinking and drugs. They'll be promoting community activities to keep them suitably busy and away from crime. A date has finally been set for the reopening of Cleethorpes paddling pool, following a 4-week closure since July the 7th. It was closed as a result of the plant rooms needing repairs, but it can finally be confirmed that it will be open as normal from Friday the 5th of August. Cleethorpes' tourism industry is under threat. That's according to North East Lincolnshire Councillor Philip Jackson. Recently, several issues have arisen in the area, including the temporary closure of the aforementioned paddling pool, the state of several public toilets and the environmental threats presented by salt marshes. Mr Jackson has brought these issues before the council numerous times, but he says they've yet to act on them, meaning that these issues are in danger of putting Cleethorpes' status as a powerhouse tourist city at risk. Fred McNamara spoke to him to discuss the matters in full.
Well, obviously, tourism is a key aspect of the economy of Cleethorpes. We're at the height of the tourist season now, end of July, beginning of August, and yet 3 problems seem to have manifested themselves at the same time, which potentially, I think, could have an adverse effect on tourism in Cleethorpes, in fact are doing. One of them was the closure last week of the paddling pool, children's paddling pool, which still hasn't reopened yet. The second is the problem around public toilets, the controversy around charging for them in Cleethorpes, but at the same time the provision of them and the standards not being sufficiently high. And again, we heard a couple of weeks ago there's a possibility of the cleaning of them being undertaken less frequently, which I think will be very negative. And the third problem is a long-standing one, which is the salt marsh immediately adjacent to the leisure centre in Cleethorpes, which seems to be extending beyond an agreed line that we had with English Nature that was agreed 2 or 3 years ago. And I think this is starting to have an adverse effect on the beach at that end of the resort. So these issues coming together, you know, it's a very competitive area, tourism. There are other East Coast resorts that people can go to, and we've got to make sure that the offering for Cleethorpes is tip-top and that we retain our visitors. Well, anecdotally, I've seen reports of discussions with people who visited Cleethorpes and who've said that because of the standard of the toilets and the fact the paddling pool is closed, they've paid for car parking, have travelled a long distance, you know, they were very disappointed and they wouldn't come back to Cleethorpes again. And although there's lots of other tourism offerings at Cleethorpes, it's not just those few things, you know, these can give a bad impression, and obviously if people have travelled a long distance, they want decent public toilets, and you know, you've only got to have a few negative indicators and that can put people off. So, you know, Cleethorpes as a tourist resort is doing very well. It's definitely improving. There's been a huge improvement over the last 5 or 10 years, a lot more visitors now, but we need to make sure that we keep it as visitor friendly as possible. With regard to the paddling pool, myself and my Conservative colleagues on the council have actually found it very difficult to find out what the problem is. We've been told there's a health and safety problem, we've been told it's around storage of chemicals or plant and equipment that's broken down or inadequate staffing, depending on who you talk to and when, but the problem doesn't seem to have been sorted out. Pool's been closed for over a week now. You know, that really should have been sorted out pretty quickly. We were told that there was no money available to do it. Well, you know, to my mind, this should be one of the priorities. That's what balances are for, to deal with emergencies like this which crop up. So that needs to be sorted out as quickly as possible. One of my Conservative colleagues on the council did refer to scrutiny the whole question of getting the problems around the public toilets sorted out, but that seems to have been put on the back burner as well. And we did have a discussion at a scrutiny panel last Tuesday evening about the salt marsh at Cleethorpes, and we are all going to have a meeting down there and have a look at the issues around that. But again, We seem to have lots of meetings, lots of discussions, but we don't seem to get to the root of the problem, if you'll pardon the pun, when it comes to the salt marsh. Well, we need a focus on these issues to get them sorted out as quickly as possible, because we don't want them to continue to be affecting the tourism in Cleethorpes at the height of the tourist season. So what we need is urgent action. We need these matters sorting out.
Next up on the show, I'm joined by Gemma Croft, a volunteer peer supporter in the community, and Corinne Savage from Mummaroo Sling Library, here to talk about International Breastfeeding Week. Thanks for coming in. Right, first then, tell us a little bit about why International Breastfeeding Week is a thing and why breastfeeding needs that kind of support.
I think it's a good opportunity to get information across where services such as the peer support scheme is and how you can access that kind of support or information, because that's one of the things that is lacking, people able to make an informed decision between bottle or breastfeeding. And it can be quite isolating if that's a decision you want to make and there isn't anyone with that information around you. You can't make that informed choice. Whereas we offer lots of services and lots of places to go for that kind of support and information. And I think that week gives us the opportunity to say, look, we're here. This is where you can find us.
And having opportunities to come on shows
exactly.
like this. So tell us a little bit about the different kind of ways that you support.
Well, we support antenatally. We do workshops at the maternity ward where you can go, you speak to your midwife about and they book you on the course. You speak to your midwives generally, any health visitors. There's also help on the within the community at the children's centres. And we also have a Facebook group which you can find by searching Grimsby Breastfeeding Support. And that's all mums within the local area. And we have a lot of pregnant ladies on there who will sort of come and ask for information from mums who are doing it at the time. They're breastfeeding, they're up at 4 in the morning already, feeding. And it's a nice place to get to know people ahead of actually having baby and having that community already in place.
That's the same thing as what we're doing with the Sling Library. So we have a Sling Library antenatal group. So even before baby's born, we've got Kevin in the sling today, so we use him as part of teaching. Mums can have a go with him. They can even take away one of these wraps for 3 months and have it on hire. So mums are really confident before they even start that they know how to sort of keep baby close, and we chat about breastfeeding at the time. And Facebook again is absolutely brilliant for sort of keeping mums in touch.
That was going to be one of my next questions. tell me what you're wearing.
Yeah, so this is one of my demo dolls. And again, sometimes mums can sort of buy a wrap and think that's going to be a great idea, but then it comes and baby's born and it's all a bit daunting. So they've just become a parent, they're trying to breastfeed, and really what we do is we just try and take it back a little bit and just sort of slow it up. So we teach mums before they've had baby and they feel really confident, but they also know where to go if they don't feel confident. So they know that we run a Sling Library every week. They have us on hand on Facebook, and they have us on hand personally as well, so I can go out to see them at their home address, and we can make sure they're really confident and really able to come out and sort of meet.
Of course, it is a massive decision to mums as well.
Yeah.
How do you, I suppose, go through the process of making sure that they know which is right for them?
I think, again, it's just about making an informed decision, like Gemma said, and knowing who to contact. Sometimes mums can sit at home and just feel so isolated and not really know where to go. Midwives are absolutely fantastic, but sometimes they haven't got that time, so that's why the peer supporters are there as well, and that's why we're here at the Sling Library. A lot of our Sling Library volunteers have breastfed themselves, and just chatting to another mum that's been there before, when you're up at 3 in the morning and you're sort of struggling a little bit, it's great to be able to just chat to another mum
That's
who's
what the
been
Facebook group is good for. If you're posting at 4 in the morning, there's someone else up.
It's all about support, isn't it? It's not necessarily the fact
of
picking down which path you're going, but it's having someone there to make sure.
Absolutely.
And that's exactly what you're offering.
Speaking to mums that are sort of struggling or maybe have given up on breastfeeding and feeling bad about that, it's usually a case of they didn't know who to turn to. Yeah. So, and that's why we need that week to just sort of say, we're here, come and see us, come and chat to us, and we can help.
And that's going on all week. Well, thank you both very much for coming in.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right, join me after the break and we'll have some more of the day's headlines. We'll see a new statue in a Grimsby park, and Lily will be here with all the sport, which features Grimsby town boss Paul Hurst on his hunt for new signings. Welcome back, you're watching Estuary News. Still to come tonight, more of the day's news headlines, and Lily will bring us a roundup of all the latest sporting action, where you'll be able to hear from Scump Up's Tom Hopper and Grimsby town boss Paul Hurst. But first, as the Rio Olympic ceremony takes place tomorrow, former Franklin College student Haitham Rida will be playing a key role in the organisation of the ceremony for the 3rd year. He'll be working as a senior cast coordinator, managing more than 8,000 volunteers performing in both the opening and closing ceremonies. Applications to the Sancton Hill Wind Farm Community Fund are now being accepted from groups looking to develop projects from local community buildings to sports clubs and youth groups. Now in its 4th year, the fund receives an annual donation from the wind farm's operating company, REG Wind Power. To apply, visit the Sancton Hill Wind Farm website. The legendary Buffalo Bill has returned to Grimsby Park over 100 years since he first visited. A statue of the famous showman and hunter has been put up in Grant Thorold Park in the town, besides the community library known as the Hub. Born with the name William Frederick Cody, he visited in the UK in 1904. That included a stop-off in Grimsby. Now he's the latest attraction within Buffalo Bill's Pocket Park to get more young people and families outdoors and active and interacting with the library. Councillor Steve Bazant of the East Marsh Ward explains.
The aim of introducing new features to park is to promote the community library and to be honest, we're really bringing in new things now because Buffalo Bill has now returned after well over 100 years since he was here on the official opening day of Grant Thorold Park. So the more we introduce, it's getting the youngsters excited about the area, they're taking care of the nature, planting up flower beds, etc. So Buffalo Bill has been our main emphasis throughout this project.
We've got all the new containers, and one of the things that we're doing is a competition where people can basically have a container, plant it up themselves, and there'll be a prize for the best one at the end of it. So we're trying to encourage people to take ownership of their own area really. So that's been really, really popular.
We want them using the library as much as possible because let's face it, we're in an area of high deprivation. Young people haven't got the educational skills as they should do, so we want to improve that area. We want to improve the area, we want to improve the environment, we want to improve educational attainment, etc. It's mainly about, the main thing is get children back in touch with nature and appreciating nature, not damaging it, experiencing the nature as such and getting involved in it. That's the main thing really. That's our #1 priority, and then taking benefit of the other facilities around here, the library, etc.
North Lincolnshire Council will be installing a speed hump on Cross Street in Crowell this Sunday, following concerns raised by residents about speeding along the road. The council decided that the best option would be to remove the current speed cushions on Cross Street and install a speed hump instead. British Cycling are looking to train confident cyclists as British cycling ride leaders. It's as part of the National Support England campaign, This Girl Can. The project is made up of 5 sessions even, which deals with skills such as bike handling.
Today we're running a project part of the National Sport England campaign This Girl Can, and we're running a This Girl Can cycle course. It's made up of 5 sessions, and tonight we're doing the practical session, and it's all about bike handling skills. So we've got 8 ladies here who are all being coached by our British Cycling qualified coach, and they're going to do some bike handling skills tonight, all part of a 5-session course. What we want to do is get more women into cycling. Breeze is British Cycling's national programme to encourage more women to cycle. It's not club riding, this is really recreational, social riding. We want to get more women taking part. They may then progress on to joining a club, but what we want to do is take them out on lead rides so they feel safe. We've got beautiful countryside around North Lincolnshire, so they can come on a lead ride. We're all volunteers, but we're all qualified ride leaders through British Cycling, and we take them on rides. But one of the fears is, if I get a puncture, what do I carry with me? I don't know how to change it, and these are all barriers to why people aren't cycling, and specifically the women. So they'll often tell me that they do a 5-mile radius round the house because they can ring the husband up to come and get them. But actually, if they're independent and they've got the right kit with them and they know how to change a puncture, then they can ride much further, and then they've got the social aspect of meeting with their friends, meeting new people and getting fit and healthy. And that ultimately is what we're trying to do, is to get women more active and more healthy. getting women active, you know, healthy, leading a healthier lifestyle, getting out in the fresh air. It can really help with people's mental well-being as well as the physical benefits. We've seen a lot of people that are maybe at home who are not meeting new people, and by being physically active, that can really improve their health and well-being. So on the back of the success of the Breeze project here in North Lincolnshire, what we're now launching is Ride Social. Again, it's a British cycling project, but what we're looking for is on the 3rd of September, we're going to run a Ride Leaders Level 1 course, and we want to upskill, like the Breeze Ride Leaders, we want to upskill 10 new people, new volunteers that can lead mixed rides, family rides, and encourage more people. So as well as we've done the focus on the women, we now want to focus on family rides and mixed groups, get more men involved in social rides.
She's better than Roy and Robbie. It's time for all the latest sporting action courtesy of Lily Keane.
Grimsby Town manager Paul Hurst says he doesn't expect to add any new players to his squad ahead of Saturday League's opener against Morecambe. The Mariners play their first game in the Football League in 6 years after finally making it back to League Two by winning the playoff final last season. Hurst says he's still looking at making a couple of additions before the transfer window shuts, and had this to say when he asked if left-back cover for Daniel Andrew is a priority.
No, we've got Dan Jones who'll cover there if needs be. Well, I say cover, that's unfair. It's competition, realistically. But as we speak, in terms of if Andrew's not fit, Dan Jones played last week. He did well at times, and that's where we are at left back. It's more at centre back and centre forward where I'm still looking to bring one to complement what we've got, but also add competition. You know, that's what it's all about. People not being comfortable and thinking I'm just going to play it week in, week out, and ultimately the subs will have a big part to play, as I think the Euros highlighted recently. We know it can happen, and there's been super subs in the past and so on, but I think the games this year, it really highlighted the impact that subs can have, and often they came on and changed games for teams.
Hull City's caretaker manager Mike Felon says he's pleased with the way his side went about their 3-1 win over Kirkcudbright yesterday. The game was the Tigers' penultimate pre-season friendly ahead of their return to the Premier League. Striker Abel Hernandez scored twice in the game against the Turkish club in Austria. City are back in action on Saturday when their Austrian trip comes to an end with a friendly against Torino in Salzburg. Scunthorpe United striker Tom Hopper has been speaking to the press today ahead of their opener against Bristol Rovers on Saturday. He says he's positive that the momentum generated towards the end of last season is still there.
It should be. I don't see any reason why not to be. You know, we're a confident bunch anyway. So as long as we can keep winning games, it's a great habit to get into. And as long as we build on what we finished last season and get off to a good start, which is key in this league, you know, it should stand us in good stead.
And obviously Bristol Rovers, they'll be coming in with momentum after their promotion, so it should be two sides sort of going for the win, really.
Yeah, of course. They'll like you say, they'll be confident as well. They're riding a bit of a wave, obviously promotion, but they're a League One side now, so we can't treat them any differently to anyone else. Every game is tough in this league, and if you don't do anything right, you get found out, which we found out last season. So you know we'll prepare right, do everything we can, and do everything, concentrate on ourselves out of thought, and you know do everything we can do to get 3 points on Saturday.
North Ferriby United have made another new signing. They've brought in striker Alfonso Menza following a successful trial with the club. The Villagers are now just 2 days away from their first ever game in the National League when they host Guiseley at the Eon Visual Media Stadium. On to Rugby League, and over 70,000 tickets have already been sold for the Challenge Cup final. Hull FC take on Warrington Wolves at Wembley on Saturday 27th of August, but before that the Super 8s get underway this evening. Warrington hosts St Helens tonight before the Black and Whites kick off their tilt for the grand final at home to Castleford tomorrow. And finally, Hull Kingston Rovers' Graham Horne is to miss the Middle Eights opener against Batley on Sunday. But in a more positive news, Mitch Allgood, Ian Thornley and Sean Lunt should all return. And that's all for the sport.
And of course, I shouldn't forget former Hull City player Michael Keane. That's it for tonight. If you've got a news story, then please visit our Facebook or Twitter pages. You can email news@estuary.tv if you have a story, or you can phone us on 01472 31553. You can put pen to paper and write to us at Estuary TV, Nuns Corner, Laceby Road, Grimsby, North East Lincolnshire, DN 345BQ. Thank you very much to my guests this evening, and thank you for watching. Until tomorrow, goodbye.
With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby. With university courses on your doorstep, there's lots of reasons to study at the University Centre Grimsby. Sponsored by the University Centre Grimsby.